humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about the great purge that took place at BioWare. EA came in like it's Order 66 and just started slashing jobs. And so if we take a look at Blue Sky, it's filled with posts just like this. Now, if you don't remember Patrick Weeks, he is the writer, the quote-unquote non-binary writer for Dragon Age the Veilguard. He had been working at BioWare for 20 years, and he's gone. Corinne Bush, who was the transgender director of Dragon Age the Veilguard, they're gone. There has been a massive purge of these sort of degenerate, low IQ, self-important freaks at BioWare, and I think it's because basically daddy's home. The last 4 years have been an absolute nightmare. And even the years before that, there was this sort of subversive culture where, basically Trump was the orange Hitler, and you could post all of the sort of dark, crazy, depraved left-wing stuff. It was the remnants, the vapors of the Obama administration, which, by the way, if you want to know my opinion, I think Obama was one of the most subversive presidents in my lifetime, but really in American history. A lot of the more profane, disgusting, degenerate elements in culture and entertainment are a result of his 10 years as president. Because before Obama, Hillary Clinton and Obama and everyone else was saying that marriage was between a man and a woman. But then by 2016, when he left office, nobody could really tell you what a woman even was. Like, we had degraded in those 10 years to such a degree that a nominee for the Supreme Court couldn't define what a woman was afraid to even say what a woman was. So I actually think over those 10 years are the core of the problem. And so we take a look at these people that have been axed, and there's no accountability. There's no, maybe I got this wrong. It's all blaming other people and complaining and whining and whinging about right-wingers and stuff. About what you would expect from these people. But here's the thing. Cancer is going to be cancer. Poison is going to be poison. I don't entirely blame these freaks. These mentally inferior, disgusting abominations. Because they were allowed to get into positions of authority, and there was no leadership to tell them no. There was no leadership to basically put all of their creativity in a pipeline that serviced the greater good of the company. Patrick Weeks worked for BioWare for 20 years. He did do some good work, but for whatever reason, all of the mechanisms by which these people were controlled and collared, I know they're going to get a big kick out of that. I'm talking metaphorically, you freaks. I'm not saying literally. But by putting their creativity in this certain contained area and only allowing them to go so far, you actually harnessed their energy to make good games, like the original Dragon Age. But when you allowed them to go off leash, when you allowed them to basically come up with their own designs, well, that's how you get top surgery scars. And to be honest, I thought that it was a fait accompli that there would be top surgery scars in Mass Effect 5. I don't believe that anymore. I don't think there are going to be pronouns in Mass Effect 5. I don't think there are going to be top surgery scars. I don't think there are going to be pronouns or anything like that at all. I think they're going to play it safe. And the reason is because there's been a purge, the likes of which we have rarely seen, without a company just outright being, snapped out of existence. And so BioWare has come out with a statement, and we're going to read it together. 5 minutes in, we're finally getting into reading it. But I think that the buildup is necessary to understand that this company has been on the decline for years. I didn't like Mass Effect 3. I thought it was a terrible game. Oh, sure, there were elements that were good. I actually did like the multiplayer, believe it or not. I may be one of the few people who did. I thought the multiplayer was actually very, very good. There were moments of the story that I thought were good, but ultimately it was fumbled in such an unbelievable way. It was fumbled in such an unbelievable way. Dragon Age 2 I didn't like. Dragon Age Inquisition I didn't like. Dragon Age the Veilguard I thought was absolutely abominable. Anthem was an embarrassment. Dragon Age used to be a phenomenal IP when it was just Origins. Mass Effect used to be an amazing IP when it was just Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 was, I think, a beautiful sequel. I thought it was well done. Knights of the Old Republic was phenomenal, legendary, and so on. But I think this company has been lost for a long time, and it's going to take a purge like what we've seen to do what needs to be done, which is to get all of the subversive elements out of the game, to get all of the subversive elements out of the company. No more sodomy, no more rainbow flags, no more degeneracy, no more freakism. Now, you have an opportunity here, because as we're going to see, and again, this is 2 minutes later, as we're going to see going through this update, you are taking the correct steps. You've fired and let go all the right people. You've said in this thing all the right things. But here's the problem. You, not only are you on thin ice, you've fallen through the ice. So people, the gamers that are standing on the edge, are deciding whether to save you. Now, if you come up for air and you start spitting and just, you have one slip up. If you have one person at your company come out and deliver some anti-consumer, anti-fan, pro-LGBTQ, pro-degeneracy, pro-sodomy, pro-left-wing orthodoxy, if you have somebody come out and say that, I don't think there's anything that you could do, no matter how good you make the game look, that is going to overcome that. And I think you need to be perfectly aware of that. You need to be aware of your current position. You are on beyond probation. I'm not saying that you can't recover, but it's going to be difficult. Extremely difficult. If I were working at BioWare, honestly, I would get everyone in there and I would say, look, you guys have all failed. You can point out individuals, but collectively you failed. Your left-wing culture has disgusted people. It's pushed people away. The way that you've handled fans has been absolutely abominable. You have not done anything that would give you any sort of pride or arrogance, but we're going to change that right now. As of this moment, all social media accounts are going to be run through the company until Mass Effect 5 is launched. And every comment is going to be something that is uplifting or, at the very least, is not antagonistic towards the audience. The days of being arrogant BioWare are over. No support of LGBTQ, no DEI, no ESG, no political messages at all from anyone. That would be the most important thing. And if somebody does say that, your firing will be immediate. It will be instantaneous. It will be public. It will be a bloodbath, metaphorically speaking. and said, let's get to work making a good game. A game that gamers want. We're the company, we're BioWare. We made Morden Solus. We made the characters that these people love, and we're going to reignite that. That would be my speech. So here we go. Hello, everyone. Today, we are turning towards the future and preparing for the next chapter in BioWare's story. As we announced in August of 2023, we are changing how we build games to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and hold ourselves to the highest quality standards. Now that Dragon Age The Veilguard has released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy, including Matt Gamble, Preston, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Derek Watts, Parrish Lay, and others. Honestly, at this point, I think you're going to need to go beyond what you did with the original. I think you're going to need to bring in some other talent. Because if these people were working on Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3, you may need some fresh eyes. Mass Effect 3 was terrible. In keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We are taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given the stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA and had open roles that were a strong fit. So basically, they wiped out a majority of BioWare, and they're filling the rest in with people from EA who aren't going to be degenerate, mentally ill, woke freaks. That's what this says to me. I could be wrong, but that's what it says to me. That we purged the people that were not pulling their weight, and now we are supplementing it with people that EA has offered to try to help make this game actually successful. Today's news, we will see BioWare become a more agile, focused studio that produces unforgettable RPGs. We appreciate your support as we build a new future at BioWare. And there's no comments or anything. Gary McKay, General Manager, BioWare. That's a lot of corporate speak. But for those who can read through the lines, that is an admission of defeat. That is, our studio has basically been Thanos snapped. Half of everyone is gone. We are filling the rest with people who are going to try to make this game as appealing as possible. To be honest, I would wipe out the whole team. I would... Mike Gamble, Preston, whatever the hell your name is, Derek Watts, I would purge the whole thing. You know what I would do? And I know this isn't going to sit right with some people. I would outsource. I would keep the name BioWare. I would outsource the creation of the game to a Chinese studio. I would. I'm not even joking. I'm not being glib. Because after reading this, at this point, look at the Chinese studios that are making games like Black Myth Wukong, Marvel Rivals. Look at the high quality games that they're creating, and then try to imagine a studio like the remnants of BioWare. Imagine them trying to compete. They're not going to be able to compete. They're going to still be saturated. I just, part of me can't get over this. I think the game is going to be better than it otherwise would if you put these freaks in charge. If you allow people like Patrick Weeks and Corin Bush to be part of the overall thing, I think it would be much worse. But I don't know how you can fix a company that was filled with people that were part of the problem. And so ultimately, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm reversing mid-video. But I don't even know if a speech like mine or any speech at all would work when you see the string of failures that they've had. Are they going to be able to put their things aside and make the female characters like hyper attractive? That's going to have to be one of the things that you do. And I don't know if they have them in their bones at this point. I don't know if it's something that they can get out of their own way. I don't know if they're going to be able to recapture the glory from the past. You know, they used to do it, you know, obviously with Miranda Lawson, who you're looking at here. But will they be able to do this again? Will they be able to have hyper attractive female characters without intentionally making them ugly? I don't know. That's a gamble. And if I'm EA, I'm not taking that gamble. I'm saying you're all fired. And at that point, I'm outsourcing to China, who I know can make attractive female characters and is happy to do it. And a company that is able to create compelling stories, able to make compelling gameplay, great visuals. Sadly, I think I'm outsourcing. Unless the people there could prove to me that they could get with it and make a game for the fans. Unless they could do that, what's even the point? They had a chance with Mass Effect Andromeda, which was atrocious. It was not a good game. Can you ditch the LGBTQ romance options, the freak fringe elements of the game that you were probably desperate to put in the game at first? Can you abandon that to deliver an experience that doesn't have sodomy, that isn't degenerate, that isn't mentally ill and filled with this LGBTQ left-wing garbage? Are you capable of making a game that is authentic to what you know and hate that gamers actually want? I don't know. I don't think you can. But you're up. This is your shot. You can absolutely prove me wrong. You can absolutely prove me wrong. Make Mass Effect 5 the biggest, best, most compelling game that anyone's ever seen. Make it a slam dunk. Prove me wrong. I would, trust me, I would love for you to prove me wrong. Because if you prove me wrong, then we get a great game. I get to be wrong, sure. But the world gets a great game. It gets a cultural conversation. The topic of BioWare may be back. That'd be big news. If I'm right, I'm right. And the game is going to suck. It's going to be filled with the same garbage. Marketing is going to be terrible. The community managers are going to take a giant dump on it before the game even comes out. I hope that the purge that took place is enough to teach you the lesson. If not, then after Mass Effect 5, I have a feeling that everyone who's remaining is going to be gone. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.